Welcome to the Feed Your Family Tonight podcast. Do you dread hearing the question, what's for dinner? Whether you spend your days keeping up with toddlers, running kids to after-school activities, or juggling a career and family, getting dinner on the table can be a struggle for us all. I'm Mariefiebach, a business owner, wife, and mom of 4. I'm on a mission to build stronger families one dinner at a time, and I'm here with tips, tricks, and inspiration you need to feed your family tonight. Hello, friends. Welcome to the Feed Your Family Tonight podcast, episode 161. I'm your host, Mariefiebach. I am so happy to be here with you today. If you are listening to this in live time, the holiday rush is starting to feel like it's creeping in. It's the week after Thanksgiving, and I believe in doing a deep dive shopping trip. I talk all about deep dive shopping trips in episode 99 and kind of the logistics and how to do it. I'll kind of give you the gist here, but today we're going to focus on getting your pantry stocked for the holiday season. Now, I want to give a really big caveat to this before I kind of dig into the meat of today's episode, and that is that you want to do this within your budget. This is not something that you want to throw on a credit card just for convenience. My budget in my family is such that I have enough wiggle room that I can stock up for 3 months worth of basic items, and it's not going to affect my family budget. But that may not be your case. And if that isn't your case, then maybe you look at getting a couple of weeks or maybe just 1 month's worth of these basic items so that you can get yourself through December and life is a little bit easier. It's something that I highly recommend doing if you are able to. So let's talk about what I mean by getting your pantry ready for the holidays. Again, deep dive shopping trip, I do those about once a quarter, but I always do one right after Thanksgiving before the holiday season begins. And I go through my linen closet and I go through my pantry and I look at all of the basic items that I use, everything from toilet paper and toothpaste and deodorant to canned tomatoes and pasta and baking ingredients. And I take one weekday morning and I start at the store that's farthest away from my house and I work my way in closer and I shop for about 4 hours straight. And then I spend another hour to an hour and a half at home putting everything away. So that's several hours worth of time up front, but it gives me so much freedom and so much brain space during the holiday season that it is totally worth it to me. Because when I'm out shopping for gifts, I don't have to think, oh my gosh, I cannot forget to get toothpaste, or I cannot forget to get dental floss, or I need to get some more pasta because I want to have pasta 3 days later. I have all of those things stocked up, and most of the things that I'm getting at the grocery store are fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, dairy, and meats. And everything else, my pantry's kind of stocked and ready to go, so I can get in and out of the grocery store faster. And then when I'm shopping at places like Target or Walmart or wherever, I don't have to remember to get toothpaste and those types of things, or pasta, or simple canned goods, because I already have them at home and I can just buy the gifts and the things that I need in that store. And it makes shopping so much faster, so much more efficient. And then you don't forget things, because when things get crazy, it's so easy to forget things. And then we get frustrated and it creates a little bit of a spiral. And I'm just stopping that spiral at the beginning by getting my house well stocked with all of the basics. But what are the basics? Things that you need for your pantry. I have 4 main categories that I'm going to go through today of things that you want to think about. And I'll give you some suggestions, but again, in your home, it's going to be different because I know that my house is not the same as your house. So you need to kind of take my suggestions and think about how that will work in your home. The first category is one of my favorites. It's really fun, and that's baking supplies. Do you do some special baking during the holiday season? For us, I make gingerbread cookies. That's something that's really important to my children. The rest of the other baking, the grandmas kind of do, so I don't worry about it too much. But gingerbread cookies for sure. And that means that I need to get molasses, and it means that I need to check my spices. I need to make sure that I've got ginger and allspice and nutmeg and cinnamon. Now, those spices I often get from a mail order company. Right now, I've been using the Spice House. I'm not affiliated with them at this time, but I do like getting my spices from them. So I need to get those ordered now so that they're here when I'm ready to make gingerbread cookies. But you can get them at your grocery store. But you need to think about flour and sugar and maybe cocoa powder. Or if you like to make those peanut butter cookies with the little Hershey Kiss in the center, which is something that my mother makes, you probably need to buy some Hershey Kisses. Or maybe you need to get some chocolate chips. Or if you're doing gingerbread houses and you're making royal icing, you probably need to get some meringue powder. And that's going to mean either ordering it from Amazon or taking a trip to the craft store like Hobby Lobby or Joann's or Michael's, because you're going to have to get meringue powder to make the royal icing. And those are the little things that when you go to do the baking and you think that you have it in your freezer and then you look and you're like, oh yeah, I ran out of it last year. And then you get frustrated. So now is the time to look, are there any little specialty items that you need? Make sure you've got enough to get you through your baking this year, or add them to your list and get them on your shopping trip. The second category are treats to bring to gatherings. I love going to gatherings and I love bringing treats. I highly recommend having one quote unquote signature dish, and you bring it to all of the gatherings for the entire season. So if there's an office party or a neighborhood gathering or a family gathering, you are going to bring the same thing to each gathering. Now, I like to try new recipes and I like to test new things, but my family is so busy up until Christmas, but that week between Christmas and New Year's is usually a little bit more relaxed. And that's when I kind of try some of the new recipes. And then I have the ones that are hits and the ones that are misses. And the hits might be my signature dish next year. My current favorite thing to bring to gatherings are my bacon wrapped apricots. I'll link to the recipe. They are so delicious. They are a dried apricot with a piece of sage wrapped in half of a piece of bacon, and then you drizzle a little bit of maple syrup on them, and oh my goodness, they are so delicious. And what's great about this recipe is that I can make them ahead and freeze them raw, or I can make them ahead and freeze them cooked. So I can pull them out and have them ready to go really, really quick by just warming them up in the microwave or quickly throwing them on a baking sheet and letting them bake. But if I'm going to have that as my signature dish this year, I need to get bacon, and bacon freezes really well, so you can put it in your freezer. I need to get a bag of dried apricots, that's shelf stable, some fresh sage, and that actually can freeze for this application. There's some applications where you don't want to freeze the fresh herbs, but for this, you can totally freeze the fresh sage. And I need to get some maple syrup. And then when I was making this list, I got going on the next part of the podcast, and I went back and I was like, oh, I forgot that I need toothpicks for that. So that's a reminder to you that there might be little things that you don't even think about for your signature dish or for your baking. Maybe you need toothpicks. Maybe you need to get some special kinds of sprinkles. If you're making that bacon wrapped apricots, don't forget to buy a box of toothpicks when you're at the grocery store. It doesn't have to be bacon wrapped apricots. Those are just the ones that I like to make. Maybe you make a cheese ball, or maybe you do charcuterie boards. Those are kind of all the rage right now. Let me tell you a little secret about charcuterie boards. Most of the meats you buy are in cryovac vacuum sealed packages, and the cheese will last for at least a month in your refrigerator, and the meats will last unopened for at least a month in your refrigerator. So buy them now and put them at the back of your refrigerator so that when you get invited to a party, you have everything you need to make a charcuterie board. Buy a couple of jars of fig jam and get yourself some nuts and some dried fruits, and bing, 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 you have a beautiful charcuterie board together in minutes because all of the ingredients are in your house ready to go. So if you're going to do charcuterie boards, buy the cryovac packages, keep them in the refrigerator. Some of them are even shelf stable. So look and see, because you can even buy some of those meats shelf stable. And then you just keep them in the cabinet or in your pantry. You can get a charcuterie board put together on a platter really quickly. It's super easy. My friend Lisa Woodruff, she talked on her podcast years ago. She has the Organized 365 podcast. And she talked about how she would bring summer sausage and crackers, and she actually put in a paper plate, a plastic knife, a log of shelf-stable summer sausage and a box of crackers, and she bought just like the little gift bags that you get like 2 for $1 at the dollar store, and she made up like 6 of those packets with the knife, the plate, the box of crackers, and the summer sausage, all in this one little bag. And she kept them, and she just grabbed them off of her little side table in her dining room. Anytime she was going to a party or an office party, she had it all ready to go. Now that's kind of genius level. I'm not quite that put together, but if you want to be, you totally can, because it's very easy to buy a lot of these things that are shelf stable. So think about what your signature dish is going to be for this year and get the ingredients for it and make the same thing over and over again. It's going to be different people at the different parties. And that way you have made that one decision, and it's going to make your holiday go a little more smoother because it's one less thing that is twirling in the back of your head of ideas or things or items that you need to purchase. The third category of things that you want to have in your pantry or in your freezer for the holiday season is ingredients for backup meals. And I've said over and over again, people need to have 2 to 3 backup meals in their home all the time of ingredients that you can get a dinner on the table in 20 minutes or less. I've said my favorite is bean and cheese quesadillas. I'm going to make sure that I have several cans of refried beans. I'm going to make sure that I have some tortillas that I put in the freezer and a couple of bags of frozen shredded cheese. Have those in the freezer ready to go so that I can make bean and cheese quesadillas on a day when the wheels fall off. Or honestly, I will probably put them on my meal plan every now and then for days when I know it's going to be crazy busy. My friend Dana was just talking on Facebook about how it's a puzzle trying to figure out how she and her husband are going to get to all of her children's different events and performances over the holiday season. She's got a dancer in the Nutcracker and someone in the school play, and you've got piano recitals and school programs. And with several kids, it becomes kind of a big puzzle. And that means that dinner time is going to be extra busy and extra stressful. So plan on some of those quote unquote backup meals on a day when you know that it's going to be busy. So some of the things that I like to have in my house besides the stuff to make bean and cheese quesadillas is my kids love those Trader Joe's frozen pot stickers. So I'm going to head to Trader Joe's on my trip, and I'm going to buy several bags of frozen pot stickers and some Trader Joe's orange chicken and probably some of those shrimp burgers because I really like those. And those make kind of an easy, high protein lunch for me when I am so busy that I don't stop to take the time to eat. If you're a family that likes breakfast for dinner as a backup meal, make sure that you've got some pancake mix in your pantry. And you might want to buy an extra log of sausage or an extra pack of bacon if that's something that you like when you're trying to have a quick and easy meal. Get yourself some frozen pizzas. Keep 2 or 3 of them in the freezer to pull out for busy nights or even for snacks or a movie night. A frozen pizza is always something handy to have when you are really, really busy. And then I also like to buy several packages of frozen veggies. I kind of like those steam in the bags sometimes because they're super easy and super fast. And some frozen fruit because the frozen veggies and the frozen fruit round out those quick and easy 20-minute meals by getting some fruit and veg in there. But it's all in the freezer ready to go for quick and easy dinners. So think about what your backup meals are. Buy the ingredients for those and then buy a little bit more because there's going to be days where the wheels are going to fall off and you're going to need something on the table quick, fast, and easy. And oftentimes those are faster than going through the drive-thru. It's going to be less expensive and it's going to save you a lot of aggravation. So make sure that you have some backup meals ready to go. The final category of foods that you want to stock in your pantry are what you probably thought of at the beginning is what I call pantry staples. These are things that you keep in your pantry to make different parts of meals. For me, that means pasta of all kinds of different shapes and sizes. And to be honest with you, I'm going to buy a few jars of pasta sauce because I know there's going to be times where I don't feel like making my homemade pasta sauce. And there is nothing wrong with a jar of pasta sauce. So I'm going to be buying some jarred pasta sauce. I'm going to make sure that I have olive oil and avocado oil, or if you use vegetable oil, make sure you've got some of that. I'm going to check my vinegars for quick dressings and mixes. But to be honest with you, I'm probably going to buy a few bottles of bottled dressing. I know. The dressing police would probably think I'm crazy. You will see them in my cart. I am not ashamed to say that I buy some bottled dressing. Yes, homemade dressing is better. Yes, it only takes a few minutes to make. Yes, I'm still going to be buying bottle dressing, friends. Canned tomatoes of all different kinds. Canned whole tomatoes, crushed tomatoes, stewed tomatoes. I use those for chili and tomato soup. I honestly go to Aldi and I usually just buy a flat, the whole 12 cans of tomatoes, and I keep those stacked in my pantry because we eat a lot of tomato-based things this time of year. Also, dried and canned beans, especially if your family eats a lot of beans. You may want to be cooking the dry beans, but have some canned ones too in case the dried don't happen. Give yourself a little bit of grace and the canned will be okay. You want to think about your condiments like your ketchup, your mustard, your mayo, jams and peanut butter, pickles, hot sauce, olives. What are the kinds of things? If you're going to be making some of those charcuterie boards, maybe you want to get some different kinds of olives, maybe some pretty jarred olives that are stuffed. Stock yourself up on all of the little condiments so that you're not running to the store for a bottle of barbecue sauce or some fig jam to add to your charcuterie board. You want to think about breakfast too. Do you need some pancake mix? Do you want some boxed cereals? For me, I'm going to be buying several packages of oats. We like to have them for baked oatmeal and we put them in crumbles. But the one thing that I'm not going to buy when it comes to cereal is all of the ingredients to make Chex Mix. And you're going to laugh and roll your eyes, but here's the deal. I love to make Chex Mix at Christmas time, and I usually just do it in one fell swoop on one day. So I will go to the store that day. I will buy all of the ingredients for the Chex Mix, and then I will come home. Because if I buy the ingredients for the Chex Mix, like the Bugles and the Cheez-Its, and my kids will eat them all before I get the Chex Mix made, I have found in my house that that's something I can't stock up on, and I just make a special trip to the grocery store that day. It's part of the project of making Chex Mix, and it's all fine. So if you have things like that too, I totally understand. My house is kind of like that with marshmallows for hot cocoa too. I would love to just keep some marshmallows around, but if I keep them around, my kids are going to eat the marshmallows before I'm ready to have my magical night of watching TV with hot cocoa, and then I won't have the marshmallows. So I just wait, and when I know that I'm going to have my magical night with TV, I'll run to the store and buy some marshmallows. It's a balancing act, friends, and you've got to find the balance between running to the store too much, but having your house well stocked with the basics that will get you through the season. The goal for me is when I go to the grocery store, I want to mostly be shopping the perimeter of the grocery store. I'm going to be getting fresh fruit and fresh veggies and fresh meats and some dairy. And I can go through the store, get those few things, get in and get out. And I'm not having to hit the middle aisles of the store too much, except for when I'm going to get my Chex Mix or my marshmallows. But I'm kind of avoiding the middle aisles of the store. I can get in and out of the store faster, and it makes getting dinner on the table easier, and it gives me so much brain space. There's just so many fewer things that I have to worry about when I'm shopping, because I know that I've got a well-stocked pantry. I know that I've already thoughtfully gone through the ingredients that I need and make sure that I have the quantities that I need to get me through the holiday season. If you try this, I want to hear about it in the Feed Your Family Tonight Facebook group. I want to know how it went for you, and maybe even after the holidays, if you think that it was worth it or if it wasn't. I know for me, to know that my house is stocked with toilet paper, toothpaste, all the canned goods, the basics of the food that I need, it just helps me get through the busy of the holiday season so much easier. And really what I want for you is to enjoy the time, enjoy the connection with your family and with your friends, and not have to worry about details that don't really matter. So by taking a few hours early in the season, it helps me deal with all of those details so that I can be more present and enjoy my friends and family more. So for now, friends, I hope you're doing well. We'll catch you next time. Take care.